Trump's attention span and his patience has seemingly run out with the pandemic, and now he might make the dumbest and most dangerous decision he's ever made. Here's what he said. We cannot let the cure be worse than the problem itself. At the end of the 15-day period, we will make a decision as to which way we want to go. Trump wants to order everything back to normal after 2 weeks. He said, yeah, on Easter, I want everything to kind of go back to normal. Every single expert around him is saying, for the love of God, do not do that. We're not even going to hit the peak of the pandemic. And you want to order everything back to normal? That makes no sense. We're not even going to be at the peak. So thousands and thousands and thousands more people will get sick and thousands more people will die if he makes such an order. Well, so why? Why is he doing this? Why? Well, he also went on to say, the lamestream media is the dominant force in trying to get me to keep our country closed as long as possible in the hope that it will be detrimental to my election success. The real people want to get back to work ASAP. We will be stronger than ever before. He appears to genuinely believe that everybody who's telling him to keep everything shut down, they just don't like him and they want him to fail. So they're doing a little jujitsu maneuver. They're playing chess, and they're saying, oh, yes, Don, you have to keep the economy closed because of the pandemic. But really, they all think like, ha ha, what a fool. We're getting him to destroy the economy by doing this, and therefore it helps the Democrats and it hurts him. He thinks that this is what people are thinking. Now, listen, guys, I have nothing but disdain for mainstream media. You know that. I go after them more aggressively than maybe anybody. And I think I have more substantive criticisms than somebody like Trump does. Here, I'll even give an example. They had a totally BS story. I spoke about this on Kyle and Corin as well. They blamed Trump because there was this couple that drank like fish tank cleaner. Why? Because the fish tank cleaner, one of the ingredients was one of the drugs that's being used to treat COVID-19, hydrochloroquine or something like that. So these people drank like fish medicine, fish tank cleaner, something like that. And the media blames Trump and says all the headlines were like, people take drug Trump is touting and they get really sick. They're trying to be like, aha, got you. That is so dishonest because, guys, I know I have a friend who's a doctor in New York City. You know what they're using to treat this? The exact drug that Trump is saying that he supports. And that there's mixed evidence for, and there is mixed evidence for it. So the idea that this is like a crank thing that he came up with, and he's the only one pushing it, and it's like a bogus, that's nonsense. There is evidence to suggest that it might work in some cases. Yes, the evidence is mixed, but there is something there. And you can't blame him for some idiots drinking fish tank cleaner. Are you kidding me? This is why when he says something like fake news media, it sticks. Because anybody who read past the headlines went, that headline was kind of dishonest, wasn't it? I mean, it's ridiculous. So, yes, I hate the media as much as anybody else. I criticized the hell out of the Mueller report and Russiagate and impeachment, which I guaranteed everybody wasn't going to work, and I was right. But, Don, the people in the media who want, us to continue to fight this pandemic and stay inside, they don't want the spread of the pandemic to go further. This is an area where they're not that sinister where they're like, let's destroy the economy to hurt Trump. Because guess what? A lot of the people in mainstream media are wealthy people with stock portfolios, and their portfolios took a massive hit. They're losing money. The Democratic Party, people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they also take money from corporate America. Nobody wants to see the stock market implode, which doesn't only hurt the wealthy, it also hurts the people who are employed by the companies that are tanking. So a lot of people lose their jobs. Nobody wants to see this happen. Nobody wants to see everything blow up. But everything's blowing up because of a pandemic, and you can't just pretend the pandemic isn't there anymore. So it's not some weird, massive conspiracy to pretend like, things are worse than they are and let's destroy the economy. Like, come on, man. So his conspiratorial thinking might literally get people killed. But it goes deeper than that, too, because you know who's whispering in his ear about this? I'm not kidding. All of his Wall Street cabinet appointments. Larry Kudlow, who was famously wrong about everything he's ever said, every prediction he's ever made. Before the 2008 crash, he's like, there's not going to be a crash. What are you talking about? Sour grapes over here. We have a bull market. It's going to keep going up and up and up. A guy who's argued against the increase in the minimum wage. Larry Kudlow famously went out there in late February and was like, we've contained the virus. The dude has been wrong about everything. And this is one of the guys whispering in Trump's ear, you got to reopen everything in 2 weeks. You got to do it. You got to do it. And you know what? They think, oh, if you just fire it back up, it's like a lawnmower. It goes off and then you pull the thing and then it starts back up. And it's like, oh, yeah, we got it back up. That's not what's going to happen. That's not what's going to happen. You could order people back to normal. I guarantee you the economy is still going to plummet. I guarantee the stock market is still going to implode. Hear me now, quote me later. If he orders everybody back to work, the stock market is going to continue to plummet. If he doesn't order everybody back to work, the stock market is going to continue to plummet. It's going to continue to plummet. We have a pandemic. There's nothing you could do at this moment to stop it. The only thing you could do is send a lifeline to the American people, working people. That's the only thing you could do. They're also going to throw trillions and trillions of dollars at the companies and at the financial institutions in a desperate attempt to shore up the market. They're going to try that, and they are already doing that. But there's nothing you could do to stop the stock market from imploding. It's happening. It's happening. So the fact that he's dumb enough to even think, like, okay, first of all, it's a good idea to send people back in 2 weeks as this pandemic is still ripping through the country, but also that, oh, it'll probably work and we'll see a giant, rebound of the stock market. You got to be out of your mind to think that's the case. Because just because you want to pretend like the pandemic is over doesn't mean the hospitals, which are overburdened, are also going to pretend. They're going to continue to collapse. The hospital system will continue to collapse. The number of people with the virus will continue to skyrocket. The number of deaths will continue to skyrocket. The bodies will pile up, and you're going to be blamed for it. And on top of all that, the market will continue to plummet. Because some people are also going to say, we can't go back to normal. What are we going to do? I'm not going to go out there and get the virus and then die. So it's a mess. And this is not the steady hand of, a strong leader. This is somebody who's flailing and doesn't know what the hell he's doing and changing his mind from one day to the next. I mean, imagine finally taking a global pandemic seriously when the numbers start rising in your home country. Finally taking it seriously. Too late, but taking it seriously. And then after 2 or 3 weeks saying, you know what? Screw it. Everybody back to work. I've never heard of such an extreme thing in my life. I've never heard of such a denial of empirical reality in my whole life. It's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. It's like the Titanic is sinking and you realize, oh my God, we have to try to stop this thing from sinking. And you start doing every single thing you can, whatever it might be. Plug up the hole, batten down the hatches, shut off the parts of the ship that are taking on water, do everything you can. And then after, like a quarter of the ship has sunk, you say, all right, everybody go back to your normal positions and everything's fine now. What? The ship is sinking. Yeah, but we're just going to go back to what we were doing before the ship was sinking because that's good. That's not going to stop the reality from the ship sinking. Doesn't matter how much you want to pretend otherwise. Honestly, though, this is the ultimate Trump move. Because you guys know it about Trump. I've told you the dynamic of it in detail. What does Trump do? He views everything as a marketing problem. It's not like, a real political problem that I need to be intelligent to try to solve through policy. No. Everything's a marketing problem. So he thinks he could override anything they throw at him simply by doing the counter narrative and overriding it with confidence. And listen, he's done that many times. What do you think happened remember when they hit him with the Access Hollywood tape where they thought this is going to end his campaign? The media was saying he's going to drop out. There's no way he could weather this storm. Are you kidding me? Look, they got him on tape basically admitting sexual assault. What did he do? He came out there, quickest apology you've ever heard in your life. Yeah, it was locker room talk. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. Anyway, you know who the real predator is? Bill Clinton. See all those people in the front row? They're all his accusers. See, with me, it was just talk. With him, it was actions. It was actions. So anyway, that's who you need to be mad at. He's sitting right there. His name's Bill Clinton. That's a marketing strategy that worked. He effectively changed the conversation from Trump's a bad guy to, oh, wow, Bill Clinton is worse, isn't he? This is what Trump has done his entire political career, and it's worked. It's worked. But Don, you can't do that as the bodies of your fellow countrymen are piling up. The bodies are piling up, and the hospital system is not just bad, it's going to collapse. You want to pretend that's not real and go out there and do the debates and pretend like we're doing amazingly, we're doing tremendously, the stock market has bounced back, we're weathering the storm, we're fighting the virus, it's all so wonderful. As the body count goes up and up and up and up and up and up and up. Not even you could override that one, big guy. And even though Biden can't form a coherent sentence and his brain doesn't work, they just need to sit his ass in the seat. Sit his ass in the debate seat. Feed him a little bit of Adderall beforehand, and we're off to the races. He doesn't even need to be coherent, because the American people would vote for a ham sandwich if your body count gets in the hundreds of thousands or millions of dead people. A pandemic roaring through, and you're effectively ignoring it and telling people not to believe their lying eyes. Good luck. That ain't going to work. So here we are. The reality star might try to send everybody back to work in the middle of a roaring pandemic. We live in a simulation. This is a nightmare scenario.